today's investment, over $3.7 million, will build on a long legacy of supporting the great work of Canadian beef. This new money will support promotion of Canadian beef and veal in the global market with a strong focus on the Indo-Pacific region. Today's investment also includes up to $300,000 to help Canadian Cattlemen Association expand and gain access to key markets for beef products. It's extremely important that we recognize the importance not only to the beef farmers, but the economic value that the beef farmers bring to each and every province in this country. And that is not lost on me. It's the economic value it brings to the Canadian economy as a whole. So I'm here to stand shoulder to shoulder with these guys here today and the beef farmers across the country to make sure that we do everything possible that they are sustainable and prosperous into the future, no matter what the geopolitical situation we find ourselves in. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister MacDonald. It's now my pleasure to welcome Eric Gilliam, the President of the Canadian Beef.
Good morning. I'm Eric Gilliam, President of Canada Beef. Welcome everyone, and my sincere thanks to Honourable Heath MacDonald, Minister of Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada, for his presence and mostly for his support. Bonjour, je m'appelle Eric Bienvenu, je suis président de Bœuf Canada. Je vous souhaite la bienvenue et j'adresse mes plus sincères remerciements à l'honorable Heath MacDonald, ministre de l'Agriculture et de l'Agroalimentaire du Canada, pour sa présence et pour son appui. Every rancher and farmer in this country has a story. It starts well before sunshine every morning, and often on land that has been in the family for generations. And it ends with positive experiences, as Mr. MacDonald said, dining tables here in Canada, but also around the world. In cities most of us will never visit. Today is about bringing that story to a bigger audience. Canada Beef applauds the federal government's effort to open and expand trade opportunities for Canadian beef. Canada Beef holds a great deal of confidence in its partnership with Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada under the Agri-Marketing Program to support and maintain global Canadian beef market development. Market diversification, as again said by Minister MacDonald, has never mattered more. This 2-year, $3.7 million agreement let us partner with the federal government to build and sustain loyalty to Canadian beef with consumers in every continent. And it multiplies what ranchers and producers already contribute to Canada Beef. Every government dollar works alongside their checkoff investment, positioning our industry for long-term growth in a high-opportunity markets. Canada has always been a trading nation. We export almost half of everything we produce in the highest value markets on earth. And that reach comes right back to the farm gate, selling beef cuts to the markets that want them the most adds almost $1,400 in value to each animal. Last year alone, Canadian beef exports generated more than $5.3 million in sales, a record year for Canada. So thank you again, Minister MacDonald, for today's announcement. Canada's ranchers, producers, and the entire beef value chain values that partnership. It strengthens our industry, our economy. It holds together the social fabric of rural communities, and it protects the agricultural lands entrusted to our care. And thank you, if I may add, to all our Canadian who love the Canadian beef. We earn the right to showcase our story to the world, and we do so proudly. We are proud of the delicious, high-quality, nutrient-dense food we raise and provide. We are proud to have the federal government standing with us as we bring it to the world. Thank you, and please welcome Mr. Executive. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric. It's now my pleasure to welcome the President of the Canadian Cattle Association, Heath.
Morning, everyone. Well, it's a thrill to represent the cattle industry here at Stampede and at this announcement. Quite simply, there is an energy in the industry that we haven't seen in decades, and it relates to, honestly, the phenomenal weather that we've seen really largely across the West, but also the great signals, the demand for the product that has led to some of the best prices that ranchers and feed yards have seen in decades, well, forever. And so, with that, I want to take the opportunity to just relay why this investment is so important for the industry. In today's environment, in particular, with all of the geopolitical, disease, weather risk, investment in ensuring and securing market access is critical for the resilience and the growth of the industry. And we are in a growth phase. We saw a 2.5% increase in the cow herd last year, and with conditions today, I'm really optimistic about the future. Whether it's used to support our advocacy in the U.S., ensuring policymakers understand the importance of barrier-free trade in the context of this screwworm-impacted market, or it's in developing new emerging markets like Indonesia and meeting the unique challenges associated with a long-term relationship and growth in that market. All of this investment is put to great use. So with that, I'd just like to say one last time, thank you for the dedication and focus on growing our industry, and I'm convinced that the industry itself will respond with growth in supporting the rural economy and the whole Canadian economy. Thanks.
Thank you, Minister and Mr. Fulton. We're going to take questions over here. If you could please state your name and number, that would be great. And one question and one follow-up. Thanks so much.
I got it straight. Thanks. I can just go for these right here.
Need help, Lauren?
How are you guys doing? Yeah, I'm good. I'm good as well.
My question is for Minister MacDonald. My name's Jordan Prentice. I'm with Global Calgary. I'm just wondering, like, this funding is going directly into marketing and trade advocacy. How will producers, ranchers, feedlot owners actually see the benefits of this investment?
Well, I think I think Tyler mentioned it in his comments. Certainly, having an opportunity to go into other markets. I think we've seen growing demand for beef. Canada is known around the world for their quality beef, and places like in Indonesia, places like Mexico that want to increase their capacity for beef. I think that's what we need to do, is maintain those markets and expand them at every opportunity to ensure that we build resiliency that was mentioned in the speeches. And I think that's part or most of that money will go to that contribution.
And what metrics will you use to determine whether this funding was successful? Like, will it be increased exports, higher cattle prices, new market access?
Well, I think most of this money is basically for agri-marketing itself and marketing into other regions. But I think there's also money there to make sure that we established ourselves in many markets around the world. We want to maintain those markets as well. So we can't lose sight of that. But we also need capacity, and Tyler talked about the growth opportunities here. I think what we do is build confidence in farmers. And if farmers see that they have the confidence, they're going to increase their herd. Last year was 2.5%. With everything working the way it is right now, hopefully with no pitfalls, we'll see that herd grow even more. When that grows, we need more market. We need more market. We need more agri-marketing money, so these guys can travel along with us, shoulder to shoulder, or on their own, to increase those markets around the world.
Minister Eric as you mentioned, the size of the amateur is smaller than it's been in decades, right? I mean, it's growing a little bit now, but it's traditionally quite small. If you increase export markets, Canadians are already making a ton of beef right now. How are you going to mitigate them paying more if we have exports?
Well, it's not necessarily about the exports that it's a high price. I mean, I think that's a little bit of a misdemeanor on people's thoughts. I mean, what we need to do, as I mentioned before, is increase the confidence of farmers, especially young farmers, and ensure that they have all the tools in the toolbox or the resources to grow herds or even to get into the beef industry. And I think that's something that all governments at every level must concentrate on. And then, of course, when they see that we can increase the herd and have confidence in export, then they'll be more satisfied to get into the business.
Your government is looking at negotiating a free trade agreement with South America, which will increase imports of beef from those countries. Is sort of fostering access to these new markets a way of offsetting that impact to our places?
Well, look, trade is reciprocal, and we pay attention to that, of course. My job is to look out for these guys that are standing around me and try to do everything I can in policy to make sure that they're sustainable and prosperous. And so we'll continue. There's negotiations going on around the world with different countries. And I can tell you one thing, though, that everybody wants Canadian beef, and I think that makes my job a little easier because we have the product.
Just a quick clarification before this is $4 million. That comes from that pot of money.
We increased the agri-marketing. I believe last year we increased it up to $75 million. It'll come from that money.
Can I respond to the first question that you had?
Just introduce yourself.
Yeah, Tyler Fulton with the Canadian Cattle Association. I think what's often forgotten is that the products that are in demand here in Canada are not the same as what they are everywhere. And there's more than 200 products that come off of a cattle carcass. And so when we can optimize and get more value for some of those cuts that are in less demand here domestically, then it actually supports the rancher and feed yards without actually impacting domestic prices negatively. And further to that, we're already bringing in roughly 30% of domestic consumption of beef. There's a lot of beef, and that's the nature of a free and open trade. It has to be reciprocal. And so those principles, I think, are key in managing price affordability.
Just to follow up, the prices are high, and we hear that a big part of that is because the herd is smaller than it has been in the past. What do you need to get from the federal or other forms of support to help you incentivize to grow the herd across the country?
Confirmation that they have a desire to grow the herd as well. And it's dollars like this investment to support the work that we do to ensure that we have solid, profitable prices at the farm gate is what it is. And I think everything is aligned. The cattle cycle is a long one, and to be clear, consumers are quite focused on beef consumption. We are dealing with exceptional levels of demand. Exactly, and stampede.
You're not worried about a free trade agreement South America?
No, we have concerns over that. We know that there's already complete access by Australia, New Zealand, the U.S. We are well served by those unrestricted, tariff-free, reciprocal agreements.
Dylan Short with All Alberta. Can I just ask you, Tyler, $4 million enough, or would you like to see more?
In this, as I mentioned, with all of the risks and the uncertainty, what this helps us do is make those investments, make those relationships around the world, and in particular securing our U.S. market access. And so I think an additional investment would be more than welcome. We've actually got really good feedback that the payback on this investment is I think probably Eric could speak to it better, but it's on an order of 7 to 1 in terms of the marketing investment and the return back to farmers and ranchers.
And I believe in the announcement there's a focus on the Indo-Pacific. If I heard that correct. Are you able to get more in detail, like the specific countries that you're looking to really focus these dollars on, and would that be a new market or an existing market?
Again, Eric's probably a better option for this, but in particular, Indonesia, Vietnam, South Korea, and China, all of them represent great market opportunities and growing market opportunities.
To add to what Mr. Fulton has mentioned, obviously Thailand, Malaysia, markets where we don't have presence right now that we are looking at, but mostly that Southeast Asian belt where we need to maximize and enhance our footprint in those countries.
And just one more if I can. Are there specific initiatives that you're looking to do? Like, is it getting boots on the ground? Is it advertising campaigns? All of the above? Yeah.
All of the above. So not only will we have people on the ground, but as well as to work with all our stakeholders here, our packers, our meat processors, and consumers, customers, retailers, food service people in those locations to not only enhance, bring awareness, but as well getting our product known through different venues and increasing our sales. Just to add to what Mr. Fulton has mentioned, on the export side, last year with all our investment, we reported volumes and money of more than $100 million more in sales for all our Canadian industry.
Ministers comparing the rural rates Canada, these investments are all well and good for the ag sector, but there have been some severe cuts made to research, ag research in Canada. We've heard from agronomists and researchers across the country who are struggling and closure of some of these ag research facilities. How do you respond to them, and what's happening?
Look, I think research is extremely important. You sit down at a trade table, you have to have research to back up your products, which these guys have. Two beef scientists have actually moved to Guelph now in the support of the government. We don't want to do less research. The operational side of some of these facilities needs to be improved. We're working with governments and academias across the country now to include some of the additional information that we're being provided, and I think we'll likely have more to say about it.
So can we expect some additional research funding from the government in the days, weeks, months ahead?
I think what we need to do is prioritize our research, but we have to base it on what industry wants. We can't just be going out and doing research. The world is changing very quickly. It's changing with AI. We need to understand exactly what the industry and stakeholders want, and we need to have them at the table to discuss and make the decisions on research as well.
I've got a question here from my colleague from CTV who got here. So he just wants to know what all this means for consumers.
Yeah, just what does this mean for the consumer?
Well, I think Tyler basically answered that. I think I think the consumers love beef. I mean, beef intake is gone up in this country, and I think it's a kudos to our farmers and ranchers out there. I mean, they're providing us with top quality beef, and I think when you go to a different country like Indonesia, where Tyler and I were, and you walk into a convenience store and you see a ground beef with a Canadian flag in it, you're pretty proud to be able to say that you're from Canada and representing the beef industry. And I think what we need to do is build the confidence in our farmers to ensure that they can grow their herds, and I think part of that is part of this package.
Mr. MacDonald, Piper Whalen, Glacier Farm Media. You talked about this a little bit, but just for all of the agriculture producers across Canada, particularly beef producers who are concerned about some of the trade negotiations going on down south, are you able to comment on any progress that would be note to the farmers and ranchers back home?
Well, you know, the comment is there's a delegation here from the United States at the Stampede, and I think if you talk to them, they fully understand and we fully understand how integrated our two countries are and have been for centuries, and they fully understand the value of CUSMA to the economies of both countries. But it goes beyond the economics, as I said yesterday at the Alberta Beef Producers Reception. It goes beyond the economies. It gets into science, shared sciences. It gets into friendships, traditionally families and generations of farmers. Look, when I sat down with Secretary Rollins, my comment to her was, she has 3 young children, and I said, the decisions you and I are making today on behalf of our two countries in this discussion are going to affect your young family and my young family for generations to come. So we have to keep that in mind. But I have all the respect in the world for the U.S. and the CUSMA deal. We need them and they need us, and I think that's the way it should be, and it makes for a better relationship.
Thanks, everyone.
That's good. See you. We're getting tired of doing this stuff.